way because it's probably better.
See, this is going to be fun. You guys are in for a treat right now. All right. So if you're ready, I'm ready. And let's go. Hi everybody, Poop Witch X here, and we have Laura K on episode 6 of Coven Conversations. How are you, Laura? Thank you so much for joining us today.
I'm good. I'm excited. I'm like, in some ways, I'm the world's oldest living 6-year-old, but in other ways, I'm a 90-year-old on the inside and outside, and it's normally past my bedtime right now.
Oh my gosh,
I'm like
really?
real awake for once, so this is good.
First of all, I'm honored right now that you are like awake for us and you're with all of my night owl people here. Thank you so much for joining us in this very prime of time life right now. So I wanted to ask you, because we've known each other a good chunk of time, but I actually don't know how you started streaming, like when you first started, got into it. Like, how did that come to pass?
It doesn't feel real, but this June will be my 6-year anniversary on Twitch.
Oh my God.
I started streaming and it was a complete fluke. It was an accident because my best friend in the whole world, I had come back to see her because almost 6 years ago, I was living in the UK. I'm from Canada and I'm in Canada right now. I was living in the UK doing my master's degree, studying abroad. And I'd come back to Canada for just a few weeks and I hadn't seen my best friend and I was about to go back. And then her name was Deanna. I was like, D, girl, like, I need to see you like tomorrow. That's it. That's all I got. And she was like, oh, I'm sorry. I'm busy. My friend and I have our Twitch stream that day, but I can ask her if you want to come on and you can stream with us. And I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? Twitch? You gonna drink a lot of coffee and then you like jump in a river? I don't understand. What is this Twitch thing? And she introduced me to it. They were just streaming like from their PlayStation. And they invite us. So there's 3 of us trying to squish into the tiny PlayStation webcam frame. And we played Slender, The Arrival, and screamed our heads off because we're all wusses. We're all babies.
That's a scary game, though. That's a really scary game. So you started 6 years ago, and it was a complete fluke?
Yeah, because I wanted to see my best friend, and I chose the day she was streaming, and she was gracious enough to invite me on her stream so we could hang out. No, she does not.
So
stream
you
anymore.
Outlasted her.
Yeah.
Wow. Good. First of all, that's friggin' epic because most people have like a way that they sort of stumbled into it. But yours is just like you had no concept of what Twitch was at all before you started streaming. Wow. Were you a gamer before, or was it always just sort of okay?
Yeah.
But that was like your first experience, and like, was her chat like flying? And there was like, were you like, whoa, what is happening? Or was it like a slow, like, gradual thing?
Flying. Well, like that also just shows like at the time I probably would have said it was flying. Now I'm like, no, it was, it was like probably like a message every like. Probably like one or 2 messages a minute, maybe. So
you were like learning it through her stream. Did she help you set up and everything? Are you still friends with her?
I am. She's still my best friend to date.
Cool.
We've been friends since grade 4 and we're now almost 30. So a long time.
Yeah. Wait, how are you 29?
I'm 29, yeah.
Fuck yes, I'm 29 too. Let's go. But almost 30-year-olds on Twitch I swear we're taking over, and it makes me so happy because everyone's like, oh, there's no 30 or there's no one on this platform that's like near. I'm like, no, there's plenty of us, believe me. So you started streaming 6 years ago. Were you like, were you had a different job or were you at school or?
Yeah. I'm still not like, streaming is not my full-time like job. Streaming is not what I do to pay the bills and such. Like I was still a student when I started streaming. I was working while finishing my master's degree, and I'm a stage and event manager. So I work backstage for theater companies and event companies, and I'm the one who's like wrangling the actors, who's calling all the cues for theater shows and stuff like that.
Do you know that I was an actress?
I do. Actually.
Oh my God! Wait,
so you know what a stage manager is, but like your chat might not know what a stage
what a stage manager is. You guys are the backbone of every theatrical performance of ever. So do you have like PAs under you and stuff and like assistants? And
I never got up to like productions of that scale. The only time I ever I've never been lucky enough to be a stage manager where I had ASMs where I had assistant stage
Okay.
managers to
Yeah.
work for me. I've only ever, on the big shows, I've been the ASM, and then I've been the stage manager on smaller shows where I
Wait,
was the whole stage
how
management
did I
team,
not know this? How long have
basically.
you been doing stage managing?
Since, because I went to my undergraduate school, I went to university to be an actress, and I tried to be an actress since I was a child, and I was on like a few TV shows, a few music videos. I mostly did theater. And then for varying reasons, one being I'd never just really done the backstage thing, and my undergraduate university forces you to do backstage work so you have an appreciation as an actress for them, and I really liked it. And then I also started developing various illnesses. Like I have chronic fatigue syndrome and fibromyalgia now. And that's a big impediment to acting when they're all like, you're not in your body. I need you to physically connect to your body. And I'm like, I actively shut my body off from the neck down to get through my day. So
oh, that's so hard.
So I transitioned to the backstage life so I could still be a part of theater. But instead I'm the control freak who gets to boss everyone around.
Well, when you were in the acting, when you were acting and stuff, what was your like experience with it? Because I had a negative, like I had mostly good experiences, but I had a lot of negative experiences. And I feel like you have the very rare ability to see it from the actor's point of view and also from like the production value point of view. So like, what do you think of being, how it feels about being an actress, and then also from the backstage end?
It's like I still very much miss, and part of me is like, oh, you should have just tried harder, you should have just powered through to really try to do the acting thing. But it's just it's just so hard, the lack of, like, you have to have such a strong backbone and thick skin, particularly as a woman, because in almost every audition call, it's almost like they're looking at, like, especially for film and TV, they looking at a piece of meat half the time. They're not looking at a person.
I was a film TV actress.
Like, people are like undressing you with their eyes, and it's their job, and it's weird.
I was a film TV actress, and I literally had my manager like, hey, do you want to go to an audition? But they have to have a naked lineup. I was like, excuse me? There was like, well, there may be a sex scene and they want to see you guys naked. And I was like, for an audition? First of all, I wouldn't do a naked scene in general. But I was like, for an audition, they want us to line up like a piece of meat. It was brutal. Literally. Self-esteem was ravaged. So wait, so you started when you were a kid, you said?
Oh, well, I had the ambition as a child. Like, I was the kid who, as soon as you could ask them in kindergarten, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I was like, I want to be an actress. Aww. And then I only started doing anything that could be called like oh, you're actually doing this thing now in high school. Cause like I went to a special high school that had what was called the regional arts program where I lived to do theater stuff. And oh boy, I did that could be a whole other podcast episode. There's some weird shit you do in like hardcore theater school.
Really? Oh my.
But tell me sometime to tell you about a thing called Colombian hypnosis. That's a weird actor
I already
trick.
am worried. Okay.
But I also, on top of going to that school, I skipped school to go to auditions and film things sometimes. And then I went to university and tried to be an actress. So I think the biggest difference is both of them are still, you very much have to be willing to you have to be very good at, I guess, kind of like being very loosey-goosey with your life and your schedule. And you have to going from thing to thing. You have to, you can't be a person who's like, I like stability. I like routine.
Schedule. Yeah,
I like a schedule. Yeah, no. Yeah. You got to be a person who's very spontaneous.
Yes.
To do both
go with
sides.
The flow. Yeah.
Also, but stage, because even like stage managing, I only work a show. I'm on a new contract every 3 to 6 months. And although I did that for years. I did from about 2010 to 2020. So for 10 years, I was a stage manager, stage and event manager. And I worked like, I fell into opera, and I ended up doing a lot of opera. But on top of opera, I did lots of theater. I did musicals. I did dance. And I did lots of like festival work and outdoor festivals. Wow. But then just last year, I was already starting to think, as much as I love theater, like, is this sustainable for me? Because again, my chronic illnesses, even stage managing, I still have to do 12 to 16 hour like shifts. You're never really off. Like, you're always the beck and call of your email. And at the end of the day, your job as a stage manager is you're the one who's to fix anything that goes wrong in the show, even when it's not your department, because you're the one point person that everything can kind of come back to at some point. And that's just a lot. And there was lots of things already making me think about, as much as I love this, can I do this like I already want to like retire at 30. That's not good.
Yeah.
And then the pandemic kind of put the nail in the coffin because
Really? I
theater
was just
shut
going to
down.
ask you. Yeah, everything shut down.
So now I've been doing it for less than a year, but now I'm an administrative assistant and proofreader for a rehabilitation company that does life care plans for people who have brain injuries. Complete 180.
Wait, time out. Why are we living the same life but like reverse? Wait, time out. Ready for this? You started out your like journey as an actress and then became like a stage and then streaming, and now you're like in the medical field. Wait a second. I went to college for neuroscience, got my master's in neuroscience. My research was in Broca and Wernicke's aphasia, which is a type of post-stroke brain TBI injury, basically.
No
and
way.
Then, I'm not kidding, and then I was like, this isn't for me. I became an actress, and then I found streaming. How is this happening? We're living our lives in reverse right now.
That's amazing.
Like, that's so crazy. Well, now I have a lot of questions. Wait, so your journey acting ended like when? What age were you around when you stopped acting?
It ended when I was like 19. Basically.
Okay. And then from 19 to
all
now?
my teen years, I spent trying to become an actress. And then
from 19 to 29, you've been doing stage managing?
Yeah.
First of all, that's fucking badass to be doing stage managing for that long. I mean, that's a hard job. Really hard.
Tell me about
so
it.
much stress, so much so much pressure, because so much of what falls under the category of like this went wrong, it all just goes to you guys. You guys are the runners.
And things that go wrong are the weirdest shit. That's not even your fault. And you're like for the first like 5 years, I loved it. It was my favorite part of stage managing, which is you will never predict the things that are going to happen.
Right.
And there's so much, like, no day is the same. Even a show you've done a million times.
Do you like that
out
though?
of nowhere, left field will go wrong, and you're like, I'll have to figure out how to fix it. It was like a weird adrenaline rush.
Yeah.
And then that wore off. And then I was like,
Yeah.
all right, you know what? Some days I'd like just to come in, do my job, and go home. Some days I'd like to just have, oh, look, I have nothing to write in the show report. Oh, how nice is that?
Yeah. Well, because it's a burnout feeling when you're constantly under the gun, under the adrenaline of like, go, stop, go. Like it's exhausting, and it can be mentally really, really challenging to deal with that. And you have some physical, things that you have to contend with too.
Yeah.
So I can't imagine. So bravo. And that word means more to you than it does to me, because I did not fuck with theater. After I graduated, I was about to go to med school, and I was like, no, I'm going to take a summer off and decide what I want to do. And then I started acting. I started doing theater. And let me tell you something, theater is a beast. Totally different animal than TV and acting. I couldn't deal with the pressure of theater because
the
you get one
is
chance
watching the shit go wrong, and they don't know that they're watching the shit go wrong. But you're gotta figure it out.
Absolutely, and you only have one shot. There's no I want to see more. Do it from a different take. Oh, the lighting's not right. You either hit your mark, you hit your line, or you don't, and everyone will see you fail. So you are a badass in my book, 100%. And now you're sort of in the medical field. So how was your experience doing this now? Because it's like our lives are literally in reverse. It's so crazy.
Very heavily biased. Like, I'm in the administrative side of the medical field. Like, I don't actually know. I've never studied medicine. I know nothing about biology or anything like that. I am in the like linguistic administrative side of this industry, and it's pure nepotism because my mom owns the company. So I'm going to be honest. I didn't
take
get the
it
job
where you can, right?
Qualifications, right?
Absolutely.
But because my mom is a life care planner, and she was a physiotherapist for decades, and then she started her own business making life care plans for people with brain injuries. And for anyone who's like, what's that mean? A life care plan is basically a document that outlines this is how much care this person will need to give them the best quality of life, and this is how much it's going to cost. And I just proofread those because I was always very good. In my humble opinion, and I got good grades in it in school, I was always a very good writer. I am very good with like grammar and languages in general. And also a lot of stage management is very paperwork, administrative, and tech oriented and stuff. So also she brought me into the company alongside helping proofread these life care plans and being able to check like charts, check numbers, to also help kind of revolutionize her company's organization system, because she's like, you know what, I want to retire soon, and I'm nowhere near retirement because her company just runs very inefficiently right now because it's a very small company with only a certain amount of employees. But it's very much like if something were to happen to one of them, there's very little like cross training in the different tasks, and very inefficient. So I'm like, all right, my whole job as a stage manager is make a show run as efficiently as possible.
You're like so
I'm
well
also
suited.
trying to help just kind of make her company more sustainable so she can pull back and do less work and work towards retirement, but without the company overall doing less work and stuff like that. So
then you've sort of found a niche within a niche within a niche. All of your history is helping you now with where you are now. So I want to ask you, do you feel, because I feel like it's helped me and I want to know if you feel the same way. Do you feel like acting and being a stage manager has influenced you being an entertainer and a streamer? Has it helped you? Has it been something that like, how do you take it?
Absolutely. Well, first of all, just even though it's very different because they're not physically standing in front of you, but it's still being able to talk to people and being able to put yourself instead of a physical stage, you're just putting yourself on a virtual stage. And particularly,
I like that.
Particularly as a woman on the internet, or like a female identifying and presenting person, you also just are opening yourself up to the joys of, you know, the internet and how very on the light side we call it trolling, on the outright just harassing and sexist misogynist people can be, right? And that's not a secret at this day and age. So I think acting very much helps in that way, because the same way you have a thick skin at an audition, to hear a casting director say too fat, too skinny, all your hips are a bit wide, all your skin tone's not right for the character. You have to be willing
yes.
to hear
Everything
people
you're
comment
saying
on your appearance.
Oh, for sure, all the time, constantly.
And then also just the stage management element, I feel like where that helps streamers is your ability to multitask, because when the biggest part of your job as a stage manager in theater, at least, not so much in other things, while the show's happening, you have your big your book in front of you that has the script or the score of the show and all these little points, which are all the different cues like lighting, sound, projection, pyro, like effects in the show, and you're the one calling them. Because what people don't know, it's not like the operators of that technology know when the cues happen. They just do it. They don't know anything. All they do is sit there with their finger on the button and they push it every time the stage manager tells them to. So if anything's late or early or cues go off, it's the stage manager's fault, because you're the one who is cueing those moments to happen. So you have to be watching the stage while also watching your book, because you also have to monitor if does an actor hurt themselves on stage, does something fall over, like you have to then write the show. But there's so much multitasking that goes on, and your eyes having to be in almost like 5 places at once. So being able to read my chat while playing a game and like see alerts coming in and stuff like that, I feel like directly ties into being able to call those cues while monitoring the action on stage, and that level of multitasking, as well as just visual multitasking and like flipping back and forth between things.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point that I never even thought of when I was like, you know, because for me, I started acting from being in the medical field. It was something that like literally my second cousin is an actress, and I kid you not, she at my grandfather's funeral, worst place to do this, she pulled me aside.
Oh my God.
Have you ever thought of being an actress? And I was like,
at a funeral?
I'm not even kidding, Laura. At my grandfather's fucking funeral, she pulls me aside.
You couldn't have thought of a better time.
I mean, she lives in California. We don't see each other often, but still, I was like, what? And she's like, honestly, I think you'd be great. I think you'd love it. And I love the art of acting. I think acting is like beautiful and amazing. And I think like that, being able to express yourself, like that is amazing. But I found the industry side to be so poisonous. And again, I was film and TV, which is a totally different animal than theater. But it's so like, I am a very anxious person. I don't know if you are an anxious person, but for me, that sort of like, oh, you came in and you prepared your sides for this like specific role. Oh, here's a different role. Learn these lines in like 30 seconds and come back in and do it again. And I would just like crumble. They'd be like, wow, that audition was great. We think that you might even be better for more of a leading role. Here's this script. And I would just dissolve. And I felt, because I would prepare for something else, and then I'd walk in, I'd be like, whatever. So for me, I felt like that side and the needing to just go with the flow was always challenging for me. But then it's interesting that you brought it up, because streaming, when I found streaming through acting, I was like, I'm gonna try this. Like, this seems like a really good way to like market myself in a different way. And my husband has always been like, you should stream. He's been saying it since I was 16. He's like, you should stream. I was like, no. And then he was like, just do it. And then I finally did it. And I actually never even thought of that. Like the thick skin of dealing with trolls. And then like literally you just let things roll off your back now. Cause you're like, I've heard it worse. I've been in my face. Nothing's worse than it coming to your face, you know? But I love that. I love that you had a very similar journey, but like in going in the opposite direction, but we're both in the same place at this, you know, at the same time. Do you have like, is streaming something that you always will look at as like a hobby, or is it something that you want to one day do full time?
I mean, it's one of those, like, that's the question I ask myself on a daily basis, because in an ideal world, particularly with my illnesses and then pandemic world, among other things, like world, there would be nothing better for me than being like a full-time streamer. I absolutely love it. And like, this isn't calling anyone out. This isn't throwing shade, because I completely understand the other side of this coin. But you know, when you see all those tweets that are like, oh, like streamers, like if you like are struggling to hit that go live button, like take a break, take time off. The streamers who are like, oh, I've taken like a few week break and now I'm so nervous to come back. Oh, I'm so anxious. I literally have never felt that. I take a break from streaming and I'm just like clawing at them, like, I want to go back. I want to stream more. It's been so long. Like I don't like taking a vacation, and I've never once felt any anxiety after about the first year of my streaming hitting that going live button. And I just like, I would do it all day or day if I could. So I'm of the mind, like, in one way I get it. I see those tweets and I'm like, well, I can't relate. I understand, because everyone's, you know, everyone's mental health and like attitudes or streaming is so different. But I also feel like if that's a recurring problem someone has, this will always be kind of like hobby territory for you. But I also have the mindset, not hate, but I think there's so many streamers that get like the start of success and get really excited, and then let the emotion of the moment get to them, and then they go, I'm gonna make the jump to full-time streaming. And you put so much pressure on your community doing that prematurely. What you're doing is going, hey community, it's your job to support me now, because you had a moment of generosity before, and I've just never been able to mentally make that okay for myself. But then it's a catch-22, because if you don't dedicate the time and it's one of the, you have to treat streaming like it's your full-time job before it ever is, if you want to get there. But then doing that early, I feel like it's just super selfish and demanding to your community.
I mean, I just became a full-time streamer this past October, and I was like vehemently like, I'm terrified. I always had 3 other side hustles. I was like, I can't. And then my community was the one who was like, do it. And it's like, if you have that sort of like foundation already, it's not a one-time fluke of a month that's like you're seeing, like, you know, it's where you feel like, okay, it's safe to make that leap. I feel like that's the right time to do it. But I absolutely agree. I feel like we're very similar mentality. I feel like streaming should never be something that makes you sad or stressed. And obviously things happen, like, you know, stresses in life happen, but I do feel like it's very, very important to look at streaming and always not put pressure on it. It should always be an outlet for joy and for happiness and excitement. Like for me, I get my anxiety out when I stream. I get my energy out when I stream. So I feel like if you take the chance and you become a full-time streamer, and like I actually did this once a couple years ago, I went full-time when I wasn't ready, and I started to overthink everything, and I started to try to stream twice a day. I was like losing my mind. I was putting so much pressure on myself, and it was totally unsustainable. I was streaming 6 days a week, twice a day. Who the fuck does that?
Yeah, so that's a lot.
It's a lot. So I ended up burning out so hard, and I took a month off. And going back to what you said previously, I took a month off, and I think the fear of what some of those streamers might be saying when they say, I'm scared to hit the go live button, I agree with you. I'm never really nervous. I mean, sometimes when I have like events and shit, like I'm like, oh God. But like, I'm never nervous, you know, but when I had taken a month off, I was like, oh my God, I'm going to hit go live and everyone's going to have forgotten about me. And I think that's part of that, like that feeling of being a streamer. Like if I leave, there are millions of people on this platform. They'll find someone else. They'll forget about me. So I think part of that, like, oh my God, I'm so scared to go live, isn't necessarily that they're like dreading, like, oh, I don't want to stream anymore. I think it's like, if I hit live, will anyone be there for me? Like, is my community still there? But yeah, I wholeheartedly agree. Like, you should not become a full-time streamer. Have you ever had people, because you've been here longer than I have you ever had people who ask you, like, I want to be a streamer, I'm going to pay, I'm going full-time right away. What would you say to them? Like, what would you say? What would be your advice?
I mean, now in particular, because also like even Twitch itself is still relatively new. Streaming as a career, as an industry, is still so new, and like nothing is known about the sustainability, the long-term effects of full-time streamers and this career path. Like the trajectory of Twitch is so up in the air. Like I'm sure, think of all the people who were partnered full-time streamers on Mixer probably thought they had it made for at least another 5-10 years.
Yeah,
before they had to like question their life choices,
And the Mixer streamers, unfortunately, a lot of them could not hack it on Twitch because it's a hugely bigger ocean.
And a recent article just came out. There's now, because the combination of things like pandemic, everyone having more free time, being at home, combined with things like streamers like Ninja and other big streamers becoming quote unquote mainstream. And being talked about in spheres.
I knew you were going to say that.
There's now 3 times as many streamers on Twitch as there are viewers. So, and I even look, a lot of the people in my chat when it's going off are friends that I know stream. Like most of the time, viewers in my chat, I'd say it's only about 20-30% viewers. The rest are other streamers who just aren't live at that moment.
Right.
And that means if you're just starting, you haven't had time before that kind of started happening to build that, it's just going to be very hard. And you have a lot of work cut out for yourself. And even someone with the best equipment, a beautiful personality, and like you're playing the right games, even the streamers that did make it big will almost all admit there was a little bit of luck. Like they happened to do something one day that led to like this thing that then
live
picked up
stream
speed
fails, honestly.
Yeah, or live stream fails.
Live stream fails. I don't know. I mean, let me just, some people aren't like Reddit people, but like live stream fails is a Twitch subreddit. It's not really fails at all. It's usually just like tier 1 guys, basically, which are, mostly are men. People post clips on this. It's usually not really like what you think of a fail. But what ends up happening is live stream fails, people can get exploded from that subreddit. So if somebody posts something funny on a small streamer, gets posted a live stream fails on Reddit, they will have an enormous response usually.
It happens less and less now because now live stream fails is kind of like there's a clique of streamers and they're the ones that it's for. But it can still happen.
It's the same tier 1 guys who are always on there, and the moderators on live stream fails will remove clips of smaller streamers all the time. Even if they actually are a real live stream fail, they will usually remove things. I know we've had things like clips posted on there and they got removed and they can't even give it a reason. But yes, live stream fail is a weird way that you can like have luck. Sorry, I have a tickle. But yes, I completely agree. Like some of it is luck. Hold on. And you talk about that.
Well, like even use the big example that everyone in the mainstream loves, like Ninja, right? He was still like getting there, semi-professional streamer, but then what exploded him was he just happened to find Fortnite as Fortnite got bigger, and then he was very good at the game and so he was one of the top being watched. And that was again, the luck there was him choosing to transition to Fortnite because he used to be, I think it was Halo or something.
Oh, I thought it was
what he was
or
big
something
before.
like that.
So that was a pure lucky choice, and that's just
at
how
the
it
right
happens.
time. And I completely agree. It's like so much. It's actually, I think you would agree with me. It's so much like acting. A lot of it is 100%, talent, and a lot of it is luck. It's like being in the right place at the right time and taking the right opportunity. Yeah. And that's why I feel like some people get really hard on themselves. We have people who are like, I've been streaming to 2 people forever. I can't seem to grow. And the problem is that there is a lack of findability on Twitch. In 2020, there were 9 million streamers going live a month during the pandemic, which is insane, like insanely enormous amount of views. So I think that it's the discoverability on Twitch still needs to be improved. And I think that, they are going to hype up the people that they already know are money makers and are successful streamers because, Twitch is a business at the end of the day. So I do think the discoverability should be improved. And I do think that there is a way for Twitch to, like, have you heard about this new thing they want to do where you can do boosts with channel points?
Yeah. And like I've seen it happen in some of my friends' streams. Like I've seen the message pop up that it's happening, but then I've never seen anything, like I've never seen there's been any tangible uptick in viewership.
Yeah. Well,
So
the
I don't
thing
know
is
if
that you
that's
have
doing
to hit an enormous amount of channel points, and they have very strict rules on how a person
I
can't
also
do
don't
more.
understand. Like, do you have to actively, is it like redeeming a reward? Because I've seen the message pop up and like, you can now use your channel points. So I go look to see if there's somewhere, can I redeem? Can I send them? Is there a button to click? And there's nothing. It's like telling me I can do this thing, but there's
Right.
nothing to actually do. So I'm like, is it a passive thing? Like just
Right.
the points you're earning while being there
Well,
are
one of the
attributed? I don't
issues
know.
is that it is still in beta, but the problem is that the how rigorous they have it. So it's over the course of 3 days, and it's an enormous amount of points. It's still going to benefit the bigger streamers because they have more people who have more points. So I think that there's still, I feel like Twitch, in all fairness, is, and you've been here longer than I have, I feel like it's on the trajectory of getting better. I feel like it's on the path of like getting improving.
I feel like people give Twitch such a hard time
Me
for that.
too.
But like again, like so there's 3 times as many streamers as there are viewers. There's something like literally, what was the number I saw? It was, I think there's literally in the millions of streamers on Twitch. That's so many people for them to try and boost. And like there's so many other things we could be calling Twitch out for that are actually their faults rather than this thing that, like, as the platform just grows, as more and more people go, and especially also as streaming gets more accessible embedded in hardware, like streaming, like I said, when I started, we were streaming right from my girlfriend's PS4, and the stream looked pretty janky. Nowadays, even console streaming looks so much better than it did in the past. And it's so easy. It's one single button. You don't have to be a tech person who has to know how to build a PC, use OBS, how to mix your audio levels, how to do all the stuff that you used to have to do if you really wanted to stick out. It's just like, there's so many people. It's going to be, so like, I have not a single idea or suggestion of how to improve discoverability on the platform. I can't even imagine being in charge of tackling that problem. So whatever they're doing, that's one of the things that I'm never too critical of Twitch for, because that's such a big problem. Things like showcasing diversity in their social media, things like their choice of ambassadors, things like harassment on the platform, that we can be very critical of Twitch for.
That could be improved. Or even just like they rolled out this tag thing, and then the community's like, hey, we want a trans tag, and they're like, no. Or like, hey, we want the LGBTQIA tag, but allies need maybe a separate tag because we want people to know it's a safe space, but we don't want to take this.
I hate that. Can I tell you why I hate this vehemently? I stream under the LGBT tag because I identify as bisexual. So I am actually in the LGBT acronym. I'm in the alphabet mafia. So that's what I feel like the tag is for. Because like, think about how you use tags on Twitch. You use a tag like first playthrough. You use the charity tag. You use tags like no spoilers. You use tags like playing with viewers. Those are tags that dictate the type of content you are making, or the type of content, or like the people that content is geared to. So saying I'm using it because I'm an ally, that's you're not the tag isn't about you. It's about the content and the activity you're doing. That's very different. And also it implies, if you need to put a tag to imply that your stream is a safe space, you're implying that is not the norm. Like the fact that you're saying, I think it's so ingrained in the platform and society that hate that you need to stand out by being just a decent person. I don't like the message that sends. I think that is bullshit that people think we should use the tag to show safe space, because not what it's for. Just like if you go to search the game someone's playing, you're searching for that piece of content. The tag is used almost exclusively by LGBT people looking for people like them because they want to see themselves represented. They want to see someone that they can talk to about that.
But unfortunately, I don't feel like Twitch is a safe space for all. And I don't think that every streamer on here, I feel like that's hoping for the best, but in reality, that's really not the case.
But I think that's one way where to change that. One way, because like by using the tag and giving an out, like a way to imply that, it's like, no, the job shouldn't be on you as the streamer. The job should be on Twitch to make the platform safe. Right. And there's always going to be allies, because you're always going to get people that come in and are awful. But you don't think that having
an ally, like a different tag, but like having something that says this is a safe space until the narrative becomes we're all a safe space, you don't think that would be smart? Because I know that
if it was an ally tag, I still think that's way better than using the LGBT
that's
tag
what I'm saying.
For
like
that.
A specific tag that says like this, or something that is that like it can literally just be like a tag that says safe space. Because the people who are going to use that tag are the people who believe that's the truth, and the people who are not going to use that tag are not a safe space. So if there's just something that because I had people, so I consider myself like straight, but like I don't know. I mean, I don't like to label myself. Listen, like we talk about it all the time. I feel like I'm married and I'm married to a man and but am I bi? I don't know. Like,
just because you're in a heteronormative presenting relationship doesn't remove your bi card. Like
I don't want to take the tag from something. Like I don't want to label myself that when it's not something that I necessarily identify as. So I you know what I mean? But I have had people come in here and I don't have the LGBT tag anymore because I didn't want to take, like you said, I didn't want to take the narrative away from the people who identify as that. Mm-hmm. And then I ended up having people come in and say like, is this a safe space for LGBTQ? And I'm like, yes. So I feel like it's not necessarily as intuitive. You would hope it would be and that everyone would just be accepting, but it's not. And that's sort of my like kind of feeling like there should be a tag that says like, hey, I'm an ally. And that's what, but like, I actually appreciate it because when we talked about this last podcast, people were like, why can't you use the tag if you're not in the, as you say, alphabet mafia? And I'm glad that you were so passionate about it because that's exactly the narrative that they didn't understand. They're like, why can't you use it if you don't call yourself bi or, whatever.
It's also to promote visibility, right? Because the other thing is and so if you have like straight heteronormative people or like cisgendered people using the tag, it's like if you go to search LGBT streams and you have to scroll to find someone who's actually LGBT, like that defeats the point because if everyone's using it because we hope the majority of the people on the platform are allies and are like nice people, you know, but then it defeats the point because I'm looking to see myself represented, like if I'm using the LGBT tag, right? And absolutely. That's just like and also the same way when I was just starting out on Twitch and before I, had made friends on the platform, before I knew what I was looking for, the way I'd find new streamers is I'd be like, what game do I want to watch? I'd go find that game. And then I would just scroll until I found a girl playing it because we naturally want to see, or like we first gravitate towards people that make us feel seen or make us feel or feel like ourselves. And I will admit, I will naturally most of the time watch female identifying broadcasters over male, but I still have tons, like I still have lots of male like broadcasters that I watch religiously that I'm friends with. Most of the community that I just spent a month gaming with and fundraising with, more men than women in that community. Like that's not to say like I only watch girls, like, but that's just what I gravitate towards too, because that's what I like to see because you relate to that person. Right. So that's what the tag's for.
My only question is though, is that like, my feeling is like, I consider myself an ally more than I consider myself bisexual, but I believe that everyone should be able to express themselves as truthfully and honestly and live their life truthfully and love whoever they love. So I call myself an ally. And I feel like anyone who would use the terminology as an ally is not going to abuse it. I feel like the abuse that I'm more worried about is like before I heard about this narrative of like allies shouldn't use this tag, I was using the tag unbeknownst to me that people were like, no, this is a tag not for allies. So I feel like maybe we don't have I feel like, all technically, and another thing is going back to the trans tag. Twitch is like, we can't have a trans tag because you'll get trolled. So we're punishing the trans people for not the trolls. That's a problem. Yeah. And saying, oh, well, the people might abuse this tag to make it into a meme. Again, punishing the trans people and not the trolls. So I feel like the same thing could be said about if we had an ally tag. Exactly. The people who are going to use it and use it authentically mean it, and the people who are going to abuse it are going to do it anyways, and they're probably already doing bullshit things like that. So maybe
they're already doing it with the LGBT tag. Like exactly. I can tell you, as soon as I started using that tag, I noticed a marked difference. People coming in and putting messages like, I like just gays are going to hell and like slurs for gay people and just like shit like that in my chat, and it's just a quick bye ban. Right. Like that definitely happened a lot more than it ever did, because obviously unless we're talking about it, and I don't shy away from that discussion on my channel. My channel, one of the main, not like themes, but like I guess selling points, for lack of a better word, on my channel is no topic is off limits. Like I will talk about anything and everything. I don't shy away from potentially difficult conversations because I think that's where there's the most growth for people and as humans to have. And so I openly talk about, if it comes up, like being bisexual and having dated both men and women in my life and stuff. But of course, if you come into the stream and we're not talking about that in that minute, you'd have no idea. There's no big like sticker on my head that says, hi, I'm bisexual. So I didn't get a lot of that in the chat. But now, like unprompted, without us talking about that, people will occasionally come in and there'll be just LGBT hatred because I'm using the tag. So it's like, yes, Twitch, we get there probably will be harassment making the tag. But like you said, that's on you to then give us tools to get rid of those people, to ban and like minimize, cut down the harassment. That's not on the trans streamers to fix that problem for you.
100%.
There's a really cool website that I just found. I've applied for, waiting for application to be accepted, called Peer-to-Peer Live, which basically it's like a tagging system outside of Twitch where you link your Twitch, but then you choose, and not just tags for the LGBT, is also tags for invisible disabilities, tags for various mental health things. There's a pagan tag on there. Cool. There's like all sorts of stuff. And you can click which tags are relevant to you. And then once they accept your application, you can go to Peer-to-Peer Live, click what it is you're searching for, and it'll show you all the streamers live in that moment that have that tag. And it's really, really, really cool. Highly recommend people looking for that. And if you're and they have a trans tag, so they're like, well, Twitch didn't do it, so we'll do it for you.
We'll do it. And I love that, because I think that like it's a very true thing. Like, I don't use the tag anymore, but people will come in and like, do you support this? And it's like, the narrative should be, of course I support all human rights. Anybody, like every right a human should have. And so I feel like having other external things that like, you know, like peer-to-peer, which was actually posted in the SideQuest Discord, because we've been talking about like the pronouns that you can get on the, you know, it's like an extension, I think.
Yeah, I have it on my channel.
Yeah. And I think that having those access to those things would be great. I feel like Twitch should incorporate these things, because they're constantly penalizing communities, especially marginalized communities, instead of punishing the trolls. And I hate using the word trolls, because we've allowed that word to become lesser than what they are.
Because a troll sounds lighthearted. A troll's like, haha. No, like it's not
bullies,
a big deal.
You're sexist, you're racist, you're bigots, you're you know, homophobic. You're all those things. So the thing is I agree. I think that we've allowed this narrative to persist where it's like the trolls get the upper hand. Even with like, you know, I don't know if you guys know this, but if you ban someone, they can still watch your stream.
I hate that.
I hate that.
It's so bullshit. Because there's so many people I know that get messages from their trolls being like, oh, I loved that blue shirt you wore. Like, basically, I'm making a point to tell you that I can still watch your content. Imagine if it's like you find someone like peeping in through your window and you get a restraining order from the police, but they can still stand within the restraining order and be like, well, I'm not in your house, but I'm still here. I'm still like looking at you.
You're still looking.
Being
and then
creep.
they can just make a new account and then you'll never even know that it's them. And I think, you know, we've talked about this before. I believe that like IP bans should happen way more often when it's like repeat offenders. And I think some people are like, oh, but what if I get timed out a couple times and then it like all of a sudden I get an IP ban? That's not going to be the case. I don't think it's going to be any lighthearted instances that happen. These are like, you know, especially as women on this platform or people who identify as women or any really like person that feels maybe vulnerable on this platform. It is not a safe space for all. And I feel like for people like you and I who try to create these really, you are all welcome here, everyone is safe here, communities, that should become the new norm. But Twitch has a lot of, I mean, you know, I've seen these big guys who've been around forever and their chats are toxic. And Twitch allows them to be toxic because that's just sort of been ingrained. It's grandfathered in a way.
Exactly. And even their own events. Like Twitch, not a single person I know, if Twitch hosts a major esports event, like when Overwatch League was on Twitch, if you're watching any like Twitch Rivals, an Apex tournament, a Fortnite tournament, no one I know watches it with the chat on. They hide or like minimize the chat because it's always toxic and horrendous. And it's like, that's on you. That is your brand. That is what you've cultivated. Because this is a Twitch official sanctioned event. And not a single person enjoys that except the idiots filling it with like bigoted messages.
Terrible, right. And you know, and I know that, you know, as a streamer, you have to be, you know, they say, you have to be 13 or older or whatever. But like, honestly, children and anyone, you know, who's really, I mean, children on Twitch, I have an 18. Are you 18 plus? You're definitely 18 plus.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. You're definitely 18 plus. I'm 18 plus, and I mean, listen, I curse. We both curse. We talk about things, and we talk about sex and boobies and butts and peens and whatever. But the thing is that I just feel like Twitch becomes this very it can be a very cesspool place, and the more communities that are like ours, the better. You know, the more the people who are like, this is safe and want to do right by Twitch. I mean, I always say if Twitch has unlimited resources, they have 9 million, up to 9 million streamers a month. Yep. Use us. We're the boots on the ground. We're the soldiers for you guys. Ask us, send us polls, send us surveys, ask us what we want. Try out betas, see how it goes. Mm-hmm. They have the resources, they have the finances. It's just, do they want to upset this grandfathered in sort of toxic thing that's a huge part of the shtick, you know, that they've had and have done for a long time. So I do think that there is room for improvement, but I'm glad to say that even in your time, you've seen it improve, which makes me really, really happy and feel really positively, because I've been streaming for 4 years, just coming up on 4 years, and I feel like I have seen it get improved, but I still think that it's like coming from a PR, like I feel, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I feel like they're trying to fix things from a PR standpoint and not like a,
yeah.
You know what I mean?
I just feel like it's like they could benefit from just having so many more people higher up in the Twitch administrative structure that have used the platform firsthand, like get more streamers actually to have jobs with Twitch.
Right.
And in more than just like ambassador roles, things where they're actually like in power and can affect decisions and affect change. And again, I have no idea how to make that happen.
It's one of those things where we can say we want it to be done, but it is. And I always think, I agree with you. I think people give Twitch a really hard time and make Twitch out to be like this. And yes, Twitch is a billion-dollar company, and they do, you know, it is. But at the same time, I don't feel like we can't get on them about everything. We can keep pushing for very important
Especially because
things.
right now it's a free to use service that like it has millions and millions of people using it at any given point from a streamer and a viewer standpoint. I think that allows various people to earn money from small pocket change to make a living, and like all of this is given to you for free. Like
it's
so many people feel so entitled. I feel like this is also a bigger problem in gaming in general. Like when a new game comes out, people like beg, harass devs for delays, for things when the game comes out and it's anything less than 100% perfect, and people get so mad, they're so entitled that they deserved this perfectly flawless experience. It's like, A, could you do any better? B, were you the ones harassing people to push out this feature or game or whatever ahead of time and it wasn't ready, but you didn't give a shit? So that's also on you. C, like, just because you're a consumer of this thing doesn't mean you just, there's just so much.
There's so
greed
much
and entitlement
in
the world of gaming, period.
It's so crazy. And I completely agree. How do you feel about maybe having a tag that people would apply for? So like if there is a trans tag, well, that also kind of feels weird because I feel like you shouldn't have to show proof of who you are either. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
I wouldn't say it's like the tag, apply for the tag because proof you belong, maybe proof of like apply for the tag, and all they can do is quickly pull up like your ban history, see if you have any, pull up some chat logs. It's like, have you ever used like homophobic slurs before?
Right.
Nah, then you don't get to use the tag.
Okay, that makes sense.
You're applying for trolls. I don't think so much based on like they're gonna look at you as a person
see,
and
like,
be like,
who you
are you
like, check your
physically
Instagram.
allowed to use this?
Well, that's my only concern is I don't want it to be harder for people. You know, I feel like it should. I feel like to make anything harder for people that are already going through hardships just seems like counterintuitive. So that's why I feel like it shouldn't. I feel like they shouldn't have to do more work just to be able to identify as who they are. That's my only kind of concern. But yeah, I feel like you know, there are definitely things, and I agree. Like putting your pronouns. I have my pronouns in my my Instagram and on my Twitter, and I think having that is a good indicator that you're an ally. But there are things, but you know, Twitch can always improve. There's always room for improvement. But it definitely. It's not a safe space for all. And I think that having, you know, these tags are helpful, but I definitely think that they could add more tags. They can add, you know, different, you know, and they don't even have that many that are like, you know, like there's only one tag talking about LGBTQ. There's nothing differentiating. There's nothing. So I feel like, but there's like 100 different tags for different games that you're playing. So I definitely think there's room for improvement. Okay, now I want to ask you a question that was asked way, way long ago. What's your favorite movie?
Oh boy, I think I replied in the chat being like,
I
that's so hard.
saw, but I want to talk. What's your genre? Like what do you like? Like do you like horror? Are you like a horror person?
I say horror. Bit of literally everything.
Okay.
But the things that come to mind, like I basically have categories. Like my favorite First of all, I'm one of those people, and then I'm obsessed with Disney. And I think Disney as a corporation, I know has many issues, but cinematically, Disney can do no wrong, and I love them.
Yeah.
And
What's
some
your
of my
favorite Disney movie
favorite
then?
Disney movies, like if I had to give you a top three,
Yeah.
Lilo and Stitch, Tangled, and The Lion King.
Okay, all right.
But
Nice
then
mixture.
outside of Disney, some of my favorite movies, I think maybe my two favorite movies, probably going back and forth, are Ever After, which was a
I
Drew
love
Barrymore
Ever
movie.
After.
Yeah.
I love that movie.
Historically semi-accurate. Accurate. I mean, it was feasible. This could maybe have happened. Historically accurate. Renaissance Cinderella.
Yes, I love
and
it.
Then
Drew Barrymore, mwah, chef's kiss.
also
Fucking love her.
going back and forth with The Mummy because bisexual awakening.
Yeah.
And-
I didn't know who to look at first. I was like, oh,
Right.
Brendan Fraser or what's her name?
in the movie, her name's Evie. Rachel Weisz is the
Yes.
actress.
Oh my God. Hell yes.
And then
yes.
also, though, huge place in my heart for Jaws. Jaws is one of my favorite
God,
movies
what a
ever.
nice-
But
I love
sharks. I've
so-
gone swimming with sharks. I've fed sharks. Like, I fucking love sharks. But
Wait.
Jaws.
Shut the fuck up. Wait, because I have a huge fear of sharks.
Really?
Like, horrible fear.
This is where we're not living the same
This
life
is where we're not
anymore.
living. Shut the fuck up. I have so many questions. Okay. I have never known anyone who's actually went. Time out. I've never known anyone who went swimming with sharks.
Yep.
First of all, what kind of sharks were they?
I've swam with nurse sharks and tiger sharks.
Tiger sharks are so big. Okay. So wait, time the fuck out. Did you touch them?
Yeah, I fed the tiger sharks.
What? What?
So
you did what now?
What we did was we were in the water, and you like went into be like a sitting chair position, basically. Hold on, can I? I'm on video here.
You could definitely
But
stand
imagine,
up.
like sitting chair, and if this is my legs, like the arm here, the sharks. There was my friends and I were in like a line, and the sharks swam over, and they were kind of like hovering, like resting in the water on our legs, and their heads were here. Like if this is my legs, this is its like kind of neck, and its head's over here. And we had a fish, and then we would drop the fish, and it would go, ow, and it ate it, and we could feel the power, like the pressure in its jaws on our legs, because we're the rest, so we could feel it. Like it was so cool.
I think
it
I'm
was
gonna
the coolest
black
thing.
out. Okay, I'm the person who like I will only go about knee cap deep in the ocean because like even in oceans that don't historically have sharks, I'm like there could still be one. No.
Do you want to hear the weirdest though? Like this is one of those. What's the word? When like things that are like diametrically opposed exist in the same person. There's a word for that. I don't remember it right now. But for me, that is, I hate the ocean, but I love sharks because everything else in the ocean lives to fuck me, and everything else in the ocean has tried to hurt me or kill me.
What the fuck are you talking about? Did you just say everything else? Like what's worse than a shark?
Okay, I almost suffocated while trying to learn to body surf, and then a wave ran my body over a big piece of coral, and it like slit my stomach open. So the waves tried to kill me. I almost got paralyzed by a stingray, and instead it missed me and stung my uncle. My uncle had to be rushed to the hospital, and he was almost paralyzed. That tried to kill me. I've been stung by jellyfish, and it hurt like a fucking bitch. I've stepped on a fish. That didn't hurt. That just felt real fucking weird. And it was not pleasant.
I'm gonna black
everything else in the ocean hates me.
I am not kidding.
Friends.
No, they're not.
A dolphin. I swam with dolphins, and the dolphin fucked me up, and the shark was lovely.
Can I tell you? I swam with dolphins, and let me explain to you something. I thought the whole time, even though I was in a tank, okay, and I 100% fucking knew that they were dolphins, my brain still thought they were sharks, and I will show you one day. I will take a picture and show you. You know how they take pictures? It's all like, oh, look how cute you are.
And your face
I
is
cried
like,
every picture. I'm crying every single one. I'm like, like, and they could not get. And then the one picture where they had the dolphins like kiss your cheek, I'm like, no, I could not get over that.
Dolphins are more aggressive than sharks.
They are so aggressive.
This is my dolphin story.
They're tubes of muscles.
And I was swimming with dolphins in the same ocean that I swam with sharks in. Okay, it was in Mexico.
No.
And the dolphins, we were doing that thing where there's a trick that the people can get the dolphins if you like basically kind of are lying in the ocean, the top of the ocean like this with your feet out behind you, like think like Supermaning it basically. Yes. And the dolphins see the flats of your feet and your arms out, and they've been trained to go and two dolphins, one each, puts their nose on one foot, and then they swim really fast, and it kind of pushes you like Titanics you up out of the water. You're like this, you just go for a while, and then you fall down. Yes. And it's lovely. So we were doing that. Dolphins have a pack hierarchy, like the way that humans have been trained that dogs and wolves do, like alphas and betas and shit. Dogs don't. Dolphins do. Okay. And the lead dolphin of this pack he was they had isolated him, and like we're in the ocean. They're dolphins that like they're trained. They have some level of domesticity, but they are also wild dolphins that have access to the ocean, because this is a giant inlet called Shell Ha. So they can swim in, interact with humans, but they can also leave at any time. And the one dolphin, though, the marine biologist that worked there noticed it was sick, had some sort of dolphin illness. So it was being kept in like a little netted off area of the inlet while they were treating it. So it wasn't allowed to interact with the humans and the other dolphins. But it normally does the feet pushing thing. That's its job. And it's like alpha dolphin. So it saw some beta dolphins doing its job, and it was like, oh, bitch, let me come over there. That's not your job. And it leapt its tank, or like it leapt the net and came over and got into a fight and just started fucking going at it with the other dolphins. Didn't care that I was right there. So it came, turned it, and we're just with its tail, it was like, hi-yah, and just this massive tail whip, and it hit me right broad upside my calf. I had my entire upper leg was bruised for like 2 weeks, because those things
tubes of muscle. They are people don't realize they are tubes of muscle that are just good. And by the way, I got hit too, not as bad as that, but I was also bruised. They are no joke. And when they're swimming out underneath you, and first of all, I would have shit myself if that happened. Like, you think I wouldn't? I would have literally defecated in that pool, and everyone would have been swimming in my poop. I could not get it in my head that they were not sharks. So when they were swimming under me and there was just like a shadow, I would just start crying. I mean, I don't like the ocean. I respect the ocean. I'm like, you do you, girl, you're beautiful. But like, no, I'm terrified. I'm like, you don't know what's down there. We don't know what's down there. I mean, we just don't. It's just like, no.
See, and I'm a weirdo who's like, I'll go in the ocean if there's a shark to swim with, but there's no shark.
What is wrong with you? I mean, would you swim with great whites?
I want to. That's like on my life bucket list.
Oh my God. No fucking way. Like, I'm the person.
Literally,
okay.
But sharks don't even
they don't.
The sharks don't even care about people.
I agree. I completely agree.
Like, literally, think about it this way. If you were the biggest, baddest bitch in the world, and you know it, like, you know, sharks are literally, they haven't evolved for thousands of years for a reason. I was just going to say that. They're the same thing. Bitch.
They're just killing machines.
They're literally, it's proven fact. They've showed on documentaries, if a shark is mistaken enough to think you're food because you're either in its feeding grounds and your movement imitates a dying fish, or maybe you're bleeding or something, right? But if for some reason it mistakes you for food, you see it swimming at you, all you do is swim at it and put your hand out, because they're not used to anything coming at them. They see something coming at them, they're like, oh shit, this bitch means business. I'm out. They're going to turn around.
Everyone says, like, you punch them in the eye, no, you don't understand. You punch them in the nose. No, the thing is that the idea.
All you have to do is swim toward them. You don't have to even touch them.
Do you understand that that's counterintuitive to survival? I don't want to swim towards a shark.
That's what the prey does. If you run, that's
prey.
What the prey does.
I can outrun a shark on land. I cannot outswim a shark in the ocean, okay? And the thing is, evolutionary speaking, they're beautiful. Have you seen their brains? They are just feed, swim. They're tiny
Sharks
little brains.
Sharks are the only creatures in the world whose brains don't deteriorate with age.
I know. And I mean, there are sharks there's a specific Greenland shark can live for like 250 years. I mean, they're amazing at what they do, but no fucking, like, you know what it is that, you know, that there's that like part of your like historic, you know, your prehistoric brain, you know, your you know, your the back of your head.
Why we're still afraid of spiders, even though we can squish them, because spiders
there's some things that just fundamentally, there's some things that just humans fundamentally, even though we've evolved past it, look at and just get this chill up our spine. And sharks to me just give me, and you know what, I like have like a fucking I must be masochistic or something, because I'll watch shark documentaries just to scare myself. Like, you know how people watch murder documentaries and I'm like, no, well, that scares me too.
This all started from being like, what's your favorite movie? And it said Jaws was my favorite movie. My favorite genre of movie, aside from Disney, my guilty pleasure is watching bad, shitty shark movies. Like
Sharknado?
No, I draw the line. That's too stupid. That's beyond. I've never seen Sharknado, but my favorite bad shark movies, Deep Blue Sea. It's fucking hilarious.
What about that one where they're left out in the ocean? They get forgotten. What's that one called?
That's the one where they literally basically made mutant sharks. Okay, the premise is great because on paper it starts out legit. I'm with you there, because they're like I said earlier, sharks' brains are one of the only mammals in the world. Their brains don't deteriorate with age. And a scientist thinks that she can find the cure to Alzheimer's by studying sharks' brains, because Alzheimer's is human brain deteriorating, right? And so you can do this with any shark. That's a universal trait of sharks, right? But problem number one, she chooses one of the most dangerous sharks in the ocean. She chooses a mako shark, primarily one of the smartest and fastest sharks in the ocean. Problem number 2, you could study these sharks on land. You could get tanks, study them on land, or if they get out, they're no threat. No. We're going to build an underwater floating lab in the middle of the ocean that no one knows about. Because obviously, why wouldn't you, right? Problem number 3, we could let the sharks naturally do this on natural sharks, but I want to do this faster. She's like, I want to harvest their brain material much quicker. So we're going to be abusive to the sharks, and we're going to give them Captain America super serum so they also grow faster and are bigger and stronger faster. So all of these things put together, I'm like, you are asking to be murdered.
Yeah, murdered.
And basically the sharks get mad, sharks get out, sharks kill everyone, almost. And there's a great scene because Samuel L. Jackson is in the movie, and he's giving this big motivational speech after the sharks start attacking that's supposed to like rally them together and be like, all right, we're going to survive. And then he's standing by a fucking opening. And so he goes, and the first thing we're going to do is close this fucking door. As soon as he says it, a shark just bites his head off and jumps out, and it's amazing. It's so good.
But it would scare me still. I know it sounds so preposterous, but there's a movie that when they were scuba diving or some shit and they get left behind in the ocean, and then they like
47 meters down, I think.
No, that's with Mandy Moore, and I watched that too just to scare myself.
Oh, okay.
And that scared like that, but that shark was so like no shark would be like actively pursuing you like that.
Like, no, they wouldn't. They get bored. They'd be like, there's literally easy food everywhere else.
It's so funny. Like I just you know what it is. I watch like Shark Week, and I think they're so beautiful, and I respect the shit out of them. But I'm like, no, I just get this chill up my spine. Like I just, and they're always in like the darkest grayish like blue water. It's just like I can't. And you know what the crazy thing is? I also like watching killer whale documentaries.
Can't say I've watched many of those.
Yes, I love. They're fascinating. They're ruthless.
They're more dangerous than sharks.
They are way more dangerous. Way more dangerous, but my likelihood of interacting with them is significantly less.
Other great shark movie that most people haven't seen for like just bad, plain stupid, and it has like actors from Vampire Diaries and Charmed in it. So I was like,
okay, I've seen Vampire Diaries.
It's an Australian shark movie that I believe is called Bait. And let me tell you, the tagline, I'm going to sell you this one movie. Like eight people from all walks of life trapped in a supermarket with a 10-foot great white.
I need to see this now.
A supermarket. I'm not shitting. That's the movie.
What is a supermarket in
like a grocery
the
store.
Bikini Bottom?
Like a fucking like a
Are
Walmart.
they underwater?
Yeah, because basically what happens is there's a tsunami that floods the city, and it caves in the entrances to the stores. So they all get trapped in the supermarket, and the only land, like the big freezer shelves. So they're all sitting on top of the freezer shelves, and literally just because one person goes missing for like 20 seconds, the one guy just knows. He gets the dramatic look into the distance as camera pans in, and he goes, guys, I know what's going on. We're trapped in here with a 10-foot great white. Why? In what universe is that? Why?
That's like, honestly, I can't tell you. Like, I've had nightmares where like my high school went all the way back in high school. This is how fucking eons ago. My high school would be flooded halfway, and we would be swimming in the hallways to class, and I'd be scared a shark was chasing me down the hallway. I mean, what? They just are so beautiful, and I respect them, and I respect the ocean. I think it's amazing. I love watching documentaries, and I feel like there's just something like, no, I can't do this. Like, no, thank you. No, I cannot believe you swam with a shark. I have now, I bow down to you and your gigantic ovaries. I don't know how the fuck you fuck balls. Jesus. Like, I don't know how you did that. That is amazing. Absolutely incredible. I'm like, and it's so funny that we were basically on the same trajectory, going the same different directions until we hit the shark. And sharks were the breaking point. We both have been actresses. We both, are streamers. We both have been in the medical field. And then sharks are just the dividing line. You can keep sharks. I will watch them.
That's fine.
And have like chills because they are so scary. But I also respect all of your Disney choices. Those were all very valid. I feel like, do you have a favorite Disney princess? I'm curious. Side note from Sharks.
That's so hard because it's hard because then it's like my just nostalgia brain, child brain wants to pick the one that was like your princess growing up. Mm-hmm. But then you get older and you learn so much more about the one. You're like, there's some that are so much better and just like objectively better
who's your
people
childhood?
than the others. So childhood was Belle, just because I was like, I like books and Belle
We're
reads.
back in it.
Like,
We're back in it now.
Simple,
We're
right?
back into it. Okay.
But now as I get older, it's probably Moana, just because she's the best, like actually
we're
just
the same
iconic
person
badass
now.
role model. Disney
we're back
princess.
on the same path now. We diverted temporarily from Sharks, but my growing up was Belle and mine now is Moana. So I feel like we're back on track. Laura. I feel much better about this now. The sharks might have torn us apart. Also, do you like those random like crocodile movies where there's like a 30,000-foot crocodile? Like,
no, which is weird because like I love like absolute guilty pleasure genre shark movies, but all the other like monster movies or like ocean movies, nah. Like I don't watch crocodile ones. I watched one as a teenager called Lake Placid or Placid
that's the one
Lake
I was
or
thinking
something.
of. Yeah,
and I didn't really care. There's one about piranhas. I didn't really care. Any like the giant squid, krakens. Don't really care.
Do you like the horror genre in general? Like, well, that's not really horror, but
just funny because I like horror games and I play horror games on my channel, but I fucking hate horror movies.
No,
and my logic is backwards because everyone's like, why do you hate horror movies? I'm like, other than just I got into them younger, so they traumatized me earlier. But my logic, I'm like, because a horror movie like.
Could happen.
Well, not even that. It's like, like the thing I say objectively on paper should be about video games. I'm trying to word it, but it's like the horror movie. It's like I can't. It's like it's like it's happening to you, and you're drawn into it, and you can't hit pause. And like, no, but Laura, in a video game, it is literally happening to you. And I'm like, no, but it's different. It's different. I can like pause the button. And I'll be like, you can pause a movie. I'm like, I don't know, man. It's just different. I don't know what to tell you.
That's confusing. Okay, so we have a lot of mutual paths, but I do love horror movies. But I forgive you.
I still watch horror movies, and like I'll fuck with a good horror movie if it has a story that is worth the same reason I like horror games. As long as the story is worth the horror, I'm here for it. Yeah, I just have a much lower tolerance with movies for some reason. Movies scare me a lot more than video games, and I don't know why. Even though, because video games, they should scare you more because it's you're the one.
But it just might be also the visualness. It's a real person having those things.
Well, I think it's also because like video games, it's happening to you. You're controlling it, but like I at least feel a sense of control because I'm controlling it. Movies, I have no control.
Right,
it's already recorded and it's happened. Like,
have you heard of this Deep Ocean Trench movie with my like love of my life, Kristen Stewart?
No, Kristen Stewart.
I need to watch it just for Kristen Stewart.
I'm down.
Yeah, right?
She was one of the people when I was auditioning, because before I dyed my hair, she was one of the celebrities I would get compared to. Because that's when I was younger, that was what I looked like a lot. Because I'm naturally a brunette.
Wait,
shockers, not my natural hair color.
How do you get your blue that blue? Side note?
It's not actually blue right now. It's like a bluey purple. I did just re-dye it, but I've been doing crazy shit
because my hair
for a long time.
Is supposed to be blue and it's gray green, so I'm just curious.
Well, the thing about blue is there's two kinds of blue hair dye. There's only the blue that fades really quick to green or gray, and there's the blue that never leaves and you're married to that fucking shit until you cut your hair off. There's the only two types.
I got you.
Because my hair has been very many colors. Next month, if we don't go into another lockdown and if I can get vaccinated, I have to become Daenerys Targaryen. I have to dye my hair white. Because that was one of our charity incentives. We just finished a month of fundraising for special effects. And I lowballed my chat real hard, saying, raise 500 pounds and you can choose my hair dye. That was a fucking mistake. Mistake and a half.
You have to go white. Wow. How are you going to? Oh, wow. That's like going to be a whole process trying to get your hair to just get that tone. That's challenging. But congratulations on that enormous success of hitting your goals and exceeding your goals. That is killer. And I know that you're going to be shocked as I am, but girl, it has been an hour. I cannot freaking believe it. I could talk to you forever. We have so much in common.
We didn't even get to
it always happens. It always happens. We have to do a take two. You are awesome. Guys, Laura K. Oh, well, I wanted to ask you this before we go. Why 483?
Okay, I literally have a command in my channel for this because it's the number one question I get asked. The start of it is the first ever piece of social media I ever had that needed a username, because like Facebook is just your name, right?
Right.
Was Twitter. And I made Twitter when I was 16 in high school. And it was just to follow my friends. Never in a million years did I think I'm going to need something that was themable, brandable, could be gimmicked or, anything. And literally my real name is Laura. Shocker. I have a K as an initial in my name. And then Laura K is taken everywhere because shocker. So I couldn't think of anything unique or cool at the time. And it was just to follow my friends. So I needed numbers. And the reason why those numbers are numbers I can remember, my favorite CD, like musical album ever made, is by a German band called Tokyo Hotel. And the CD is called Zimmer 483, Room 483, because that's the hotel room they wrote the album in. The reason that album is important to me is because I was going through, like, the beginnings of my diseases were starting to show themselves when I was 16 to 19. We didn't know what was going on. I was dealing with some family shit, some like emotionally, verbally abusive shit, just like not good shit. I was not in a great place mentally. And that album, many of the lyrics, you know, and you just find like some songs that you just feel like, this gets me,
They
your
resonate.
teenage brain,
Hell
and you just
yeah,
like
of
clutch
course.
onto it, and it
Yes.
becomes like your lifeline.
Yes.
So I credit that album with getting me through a lot of dark shit. And
Oh, wow.
so I can remember those numbers, and I just needed a name I could remember. And then I like the idea of everything matching. So when I made a Twitch, I was like, my Instagram and my Twitter are already just LauraK483, and I don't want to have another name. To like, I just like everything to match, so I just did that.
I
also, when I made Twitch, I was like,
yeah.
I made a Twitch to follow my friend. I didn't make a Twitch for me.
I
so
know. Look at you. And then look at you. You outlasted your friend that got you started, which is amazing. Laura, it was such a pleasure to have you. We definitely have to do a round 2 where we talk about role playing that I've just, Dungeons and Dragons I just got involved in. And I know you've been doing that. And I would love to talk to you about more life and just
I legitimately think the Dungeons and Dragons is what fills the theater kid actress void in my heart that I didn't get to do by being an actress.
I completely agree.
D&D.
It's like a combination of being a gamer, a streamer, and an actress all in one. And it's super, super fun. And thank you so much for joining us, LauraK483. And I love that your numbers mean something, because so often people are just like, oh, I just chose my whatever. And I love that that's a powerful, numbers for you that resonate deeply. And that's awesome. And thank you so much for sharing with us today. Is there anything else you want to leave us with?
If it wasn't like 20 minutes to midnight, I'd be like, it's still going for like 4 more hours. There's still 4 hours left on that charity fundraiser I mentioned. Woo! That another community I'm in, we're raising money for Special Effect, which is a charity that helps people with physical disabilities play video games, have access to video games. Because just if you try and imagine getting through this pandemic right now without Twitch or video games, crazy. I can't. I don't know about you, but I can't.
I would not have made it without Twitch, absolutely.
If I can be permitted to post a link in your chat, any later recordings of this podcast, this won't matter. But those of you here right now, we just passed 4K literally today. And I'm kind of hesitant to share this link. Oh, shit, too early. I'm kind of hesitant to share the link.
Just type anything in chat.
Oh, there we go. I have to beat Dark Souls, and I've been miserable playing Dark Souls this month because that was our 1K charity incentive, was I have to try Dark Souls. So I played it for 15 hours, and then I was like, I'm fucking done. I'm out. I can't do this anymore. And then I put the price tag, unless you guys hit 5K. And there's still a few hours left. Oh no, it wasn't set because it was identical to the previous one.
There you go. Now there it is. There it is. Oh my God. Well, thank you so much, Laura, for joining us. I had so much fun talking to you and getting to know you better. Thank you so much for sharing your energy. I'm so happy that you were able to stay awake. I'm so sorry it's so late. I hope you get a good night's sleep. Thank you, everybody, for watching episode 6 of Coven Conversations. I am PoopWitchX, and this is LauraK483, and we will see you next time. Thank you so much for joining us.
Bye. Thanks for having me.